Hey, welcome to Tweeny Weenies. So today I wanted to talk about the topic of vaccinating your dachshunds. I know there is a lot of worry among dachshund owners about how the vaccines can negatively affect their dogs. Some people have had really bad reactions in their dogs after a vaccine. Some dogs have even died after a vaccine or had to be hospitalized and almost died. So I just wanted to talk about what I do for my dachshunds because all of my dachshunds are vaccinated and none of them have had a reaction. So I've done a lot of research on this topic before all of my dogs were vaccinated because I was just as worried as a lot of dachshund owners. So I just want to go through the things that I learned just to help you guys make the best decision that you can as to vaccinate or not vaccinate your dachshunds. So, the biggest fear that dachshund owners have with vaccines is a negative reaction. Specifically to the lepto vaccine, I know there has been a lot of talk, speculation, and some studies done as to whether dachshunds react more to the lepto vaccine than to other vaccines. Unfortunately, there's not like a good consensus as to whether that's true, but I know a lot of people who have said they gave their dog the lepto vaccine and then their dog had a really bad reaction. So, I did give all of my dogs the lepto vaccine. This is what I do to make sure that they don't have a reaction. So, first of all, I give them Benadryl at least 24 hours before they're going to have their vaccine. So, if they're going to have their vaccine on Friday at noon, I will start Thursday at 7 a.m., give them an appropriate dose of Benadryl at 7 a.m., 3 p.m., 11 p.m., then 7 a.m. again on Friday morning. They will then go get their vaccine at noon, and they'll get another dose of Benadryl at 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. on Friday, and I will do the same thing on Saturday. So by starting early, you're making sure that that medication is getting into their system so that they can build up that antihistamine in their system to help prevent any reaction that they might have. If they do have a reaction, it's going to be a lot less, or if they were going to have a smaller reaction, it likely won't happen at all. Okay, so the second part of that is that you can give the lepto vaccine by itself as opposed to in conjunction with other vaccines. So instead of giving like a 9-way vaccine, you would give them their 5 ways, and then once some time has passed between them being fully vaccinated with their 5-in-1 vaccines, you can then give them just lepto vaccine by itself instead of in conjunction with the other vaccines. So what I do is a 5-in-1 vaccine when they're 6 weeks old, 5-in-1 at 8 weeks old, 5-in-1 at 12 weeks old. Then lepto by itself at 16 weeks and lepto by itself at 20 weeks. That way, they're not having so many viruses put in their body simultaneously. And so I do that to prevent any reaction from the lepto if in fact lepto is going to be an issue for them. One more thing that you can do is if your dachshund is less than 10 pounds, you can ask your vet for a half dose vaccine. That's something that I do for all of my dachshund puppies because the puppies are really small. I mean, they can be only 4 pounds when they're having to have a dose of vaccine. So I will ask for a half vaccine, or if I'm doing the vaccine myself, I will do a half vaccine for any of my dogs that are less than 10 pounds. A lot of vets will tell you that you have to have the full dose, that they need the full dose of virus in order for their body to decide to react and create antibodies to fight that virus. But there have actually been a ton of studies done that show that for dogs under 10 pounds, A half vaccine is a perfectly appropriate amount of vaccine to give them to make sure that they are covered. And to create an appropriate amount of antibodies for them to fight off those viruses. So if your vet is telling you that, like, no, it has to be a full dose, find another vet or do it yourself, because it doesn't. There are studies that prove that it doesn't. So if you are uncomfortable giving a full dose to your 4 or 5 pound puppy, don't do it. Okay, so one more thing that I want to talk about with vaccines is boosters. So for dachshund parents who are worried about vaccines to begin with, it can be a little overwhelming to feel like we have to give our dogs these boosters every single year. It's stressful. We have to do the whole Benadryl thing. I do want to let you guys know that you don't have to give them a booster every year. There have been numerous studies to show that most dogs, once they've gone through the initial set of vaccines, don't need boosters for 5 to 7 years. So if your vet is really pushing for you to get a booster and you don't really want to get a booster, but you're feeling a little uncomfortable about the vet telling you you need to get it done, you can ask in lieu of a booster for the vet to do a titer test. So TITER test. And what this test does is it checks your dog for antibodies for the viruses they've been vaccinated for. If the test comes back to show that your dog has plenty of antibodies to fight these viruses off, then you don't have to do the booster and you have proof that your dog is still covered by their vaccines and aren't in actual need of a booster. From my understanding, I haven't done one myself, but the titer tests are about the same price as the vaccination would be to begin with. So it's not going to cost you any more, but you will be able to skip those boosters that are totally unnecessary. And you don't have to put yourself or your dog through the stress of a yearly shot. Okay, thanks for watching my video. If you guys have any more questions or you have any information that you want to add, feel free to post in the comments below.